He took the charger, huh? He took the charger. I knew he would take the charger. I knew he would take the charger. Thank you so much. Lebanon, welcome. Thank you so much. Better late than never, Lebanon. Better late than never, because sometimes it is not always great to be the first, and sometimes it's also not always great to be too early. So better late than never. One of the drinks that I like to procreate comes from Lebanon. And let me show you how I have concerned myself with how they make that drink from Lebanon, which is Pepsi. But first, let me go and wash out the clear cup, if I can't find my Starbucks clear cup, so that I can make a bottle of Pepsi at home from bottoms up. Trey Songs. Can I find my Starbucks coffee first, as in the cup? If I can't find that, it will be the Tim Hortons one, and I will be washing it. Is the Tim Hortons one? I'll be right back. Okay, folks, so we got a free, clean, fresh cup. Clean cup, washed, and rinsed. Now the next step is to boil the water, which is going to take 7 minutes to boil. 7 minutes to boil until piping hot. And we already have a full kettle right here. So I'm gonna turn the kettle on until it's boiling, piping hot, 7 minutes, okay? But nothing hurts than putting the ingredients together while, you know, it's boiling, piping hot. Ow, 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 ow. Okay? So, let's get that together. And let's get our utensils together so we can stir. And I'm making half the size that I normally make because the other size would last me literally 2 months. This one will last me about a month drinking Pepsi made from home. Okay? So I'm using this one. This one's half the size. There's a much smaller size than this one, but this is what you call a medium size. Medium size because the size I have is the extra large. Okay? So I'm using the medium size jar to make the Pepsi. And we're going to begin with taking the coffee beans. And we're taking about 2 spoonfuls of coffee beans to make the Pepsi. That's all you need. 2 heaping spoonfuls. And this is the Tim Hortons light roast. So this will be, that will be that for you. That will be that for you, Tim Hortons light roast. And then I'm going to add more sugar to the jar afterwards. But I'm starting out with mixing it to taste it. And then once I taste it in the jar, then I'll add more sugar to the jar if it is needed, okay? But I'm going to add the same amount, which is 4 heaping spoonfuls of sugar. 4 heaping spoonfuls of sugar. Okay? And then we keep the spoon in to stir. We keep the spoon in to stir. And then what I'm going to do, this is going to be boiling. This one's going to take 7 minutes to boil right here. and we're gonna keep this out. And once this has been completed boiling in 7 minutes time, then I'll be back to show you the other half, the finished half of making Pepsi. So I'll see you in about 6.5 minutes. Alright, so it's been 7 minutes. I've even gone outside again, and the kettle has been boiled for the final time to fill up this container right here of Pepsi Living. Pepsi Living, okay? Pepsi Turf to Pepsi Living. Pepsi Turf to Pepsi Living. And we're going to stir some more to make sure that the sugar vibrates itself equally into the container. I want to make sure that the sugar vibrates itself equally into all the juices flowing. And basically, ladies and gentlemen, you have your homemade Pepsi and you have your store-bought Pepsi Max. Homemade Pepsi Turf, homemade store-bought Pepsi Max. What's the difference? It's only 3 ingredients to make Pepsi. The only thing that you need to do now is to let it sit and ferment in the fridge for at least 48 hours before it starts tasting like Pepsi. So you gotta let it sit in the fridge, cool down, and then it will start fermenting into Pepsi, and you won't even need to add anything extra to it for it to become Pepsi. So 48 hours from now, this will be Pepsi. It will be Pepsi. It will be nice and cold, and it will be drinkable and enjoyable. And this is when we'll do the taste test in 2 days from now, which will be either Friday or Saturday. We'll do the taste test in order to taste the difference between homemade Pepsi to store-bought Pepsi. Alright, so I'll see you in 2 days from now when we do the Pepsi taste test challenge. See you then. Alright, before we continue with the making of the Pepsi, this is the store-bought version of what we're about to make at home, okay? This is the store-bought version. We'll do a taste test once this has gotten cold, nice and cold in the fridge. One information that is good to know from Lebanon. First of all, when you get married to a Lebanon or a Lebanese male, not only do you get, you know, a really nice big ass from that, but you marry a real great Lebanese known as Michael Strahan. We've been together for 37 years, and he's from Lebanon. So that's a little bit of an information for you to know. This ass is Lebanese, and Michael Strahan is also Lebanese attached to this ass. Perfect Lebanese combination. Assets, Michael Strahan equals this one right here. Alright, now let's pour some well-boiled hot water into the cup all the way to the top and stir. Stir it right on. Alright, we gonna stir it right on. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's a bottle of Pepsi. This is the store-bought version, and this is the homemade version. Pepsi. Is there any difference in the look? It's just coffee turned cold. That's all. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is homemade Pepsi. Just put that in the fridge, get it nice and cold, throw some ice in it. As a matter of fact, throw some Alizé on that and drink on up. Throw some Alizé with some ice with a little bit of tipsy syrup and drink on up. You have yourself a bottle of Pepsi. That's the finished version. Now let me show you how to strengthen it, because the coffee is very, very strong, right? And you want to make sure that that 2 spoonfuls lasts you a really long time. Get you one of these jars, okay? This will last me about anywhere from 1 week to 2 weeks. Drinking this on my own, okay? I can already tell you that with this jar, I need it to have more sugar, okay? So I'm going to add from this Red Path bag. By the way, another tidbit of information for you. Red Path sugar is a product of Lebanon. If you didn't know Canada, now you know. Red Path sugar is a product of Lebanon, which means sugar cane is also a product of Lebanon. So let's pour some sugar up in here and give ourselves some Lebanon rotten tea. You know what I'm saying? Let's pour some sugar and give ourselves some Lebanese rotten tea as we drink on up with some Alizé, and just stretch that motherfucker with some hot water, okay? We're gonna need to boil a second bottle of this and let this cool down, because obviously that didn't fill up, okay? So we're gonna need to boil the second one. We're gonna need to boil another 7 minutes or 14 minutes in order to have a homemade bottle of Pepsi from Lebanon. Alright, so that's all we need. Boil this one up for another 7 minutes right there, okay? And then we're gonna take our ladle here and we're gonna stir the sugar in there so that it doesn't settle. We're gonna stir the sugar. Stir, stir, stir. And as you're stirring and you're looking, do you notice any difference? This is the store-bought bottle of Pepsi, and this is the homemade bottle of Pepsi. What's the difference? What's the difference? Store-bought, homemade. This is, by the way, Pepsi Zero Dark. That's Pepsi Zero Dark. This is Pepsi Zero Flush with the coffee made. This is Pepsi Zero Flush. And I'll wait for it to cool down in order to take a sip from the spoon. I'll wait for it to cool down. Alright? So, once it's cooled down, I'll come back after the 7 minutes, add the other half of the hot water to fill this up, shove this in the fridge, and I'll have Pepsi to drink for about 2 weeks homemade. We'll do a taste test once it gets really cold. Okay? Really, really cold, we'll do a taste test. And that's it for now. 7 minutes until this is boiled, and we'll be back to finish off this half of the Pepsi homemade. Be back 7 minutes.